I didn't really like the video that I uploaded yesterday. I wanted to make something more positive, so I thought to myself, well, what can I do? I'm running out of ideas. I have the history videos, but there's only two left. After that, what do I do? But then, I don't know, just out of nowhere, it hit me like, TSSM's greatest speedrunners. That would be a cool one. Because I think I made a video before about, like... I don't know if the video was like, who is the best runner? I don't think it was that. I think it was like, what is the greatest TSSM speed run that's ever been done? Like, relative to the standards at the time and, like, how it impacted the game and everything. But, yeah, I don't know, I just thought it'd be fun to make a video on TSSM's greatest runners. In no real particular order, other than, like, obviously we're starting with Cole. Like, are you crazy? We're not, like, you would either have to start it with Cole or end it with Cole, so I'm starting it with Cole. And I wrote down, like, general things I want to talk about, and then, just kind of expand on them a little bit. So I wrote down, found so many strats, because he did. He wasn't the only one playing at the time, it was also, Watsup, and for a bit, Kyoku as well. And I know there were, like, a couple other people, but I don't know who they were or if they found anything. But, like, the vast majority... Oh, and Chris was also playing as well. But yeah, like, the vast majority of what was found by Cole. I mean, even, like, stuff that didn't get used initially, eventually, like the BBBH backwards stuff, like, that got found by Cole because of guitar storage, which, again, was found by Cole. Like, he found so much stuff. He found so much stuff that even in his temporary comeback in 2016, where he only de-rusted for a couple weeks, if that, to race Red Moss and Chris, he found a reroute that I think at the time saved like maybe a minute, like possibly less, but yeah, some crazy amount of time like that. He just really had a knack for, finding stuff, basically. He was really good at it, more so strat hunting than, like, routing, but even then he found some stuff where, like, he sometimes wouldn't, incorporate something into his run, like a routing thing, as well as he could have, but he still found it in the first place, that kind of thing. And obviously he had a massive, enormous impact on battle, but we're talking about a movie here, but it just goes to show just, like, how excellent of a strat hunter he was, and without him, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are today, because when nobody else, well, pretty much nobody else was playing these games, he was. The impact is so significant, even though he mostly only touched no major glitches at the time, any percent. Like, and he uploaded, like, practically everything that he discovered. Like, he had 2 channels and he just kept uploading to them. Even these, like, seemingly useless things. He documented, like, everything. But yeah, obviously, I think you all know, like, the impact that he had. But, like, the other thing as well is just how good this run actually is, the 138. Like, of course, I've made a video analyzing his run before, and I've talked about his run many times, but, like, genuinely now, I'm gonna say this despite the bonk that he just did. For the standards at the time, because even in 2016, when we had, like, no strats, we thought the game was so fucking hard. And so in, like, 2013, 14, when Cole got this run, it would have obviously been considered even harder, despite there being even less strats. Cole's route was so unoptimal, and he was playing on GameCube, and there was such a lack of strats, and he still got a 138. Which is a time that isn't very hard to get nowadays at all, but, like, end to end, if you just have him play on Xbox and then just have him do Mindy Skip, and that's, like, the only differences, it'd probably be, like, roughly, like, a 115 in no pause storage, which, we blitz past that now, but, like, even then, that is not, like, a super easy time to get. That would still take you a little bit to get a time like that, and that's with, like, these absolutely ancient strats. Not even diet floating block skip, for example. Actually, I think because of routing stuff, his run would probably be more like a 140, but then you have to, like, do even more conversions and, But, like, the point being, like, that run was obviously, like, this run is absolutely stellar, And even to this day, it's not like this really, really easy thing to beat. It still takes some effort, despite all the advantages. And it took until 2016, again, with significant advantages, until somebody finally beat him. Like, it just goes to show, like, how this run was far, far beyond, what people thought was, like, possible back then. And it was very hard to beat. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, like, you already know. So that's Cole, and now I'm going over to Chris. The reason why, again, this is not in any particular order, it's just, like, the first things that came to mind. Chris's impact, like, it's pretty significant as well, because he's had the world record, like, several times over the years. Not since, like, 2018, but still. Like, obviously that leaves an impact, especially, like, back then. I feel like speedrunning was more niche, but, like, because it was more niche, people... I don't know how to explain it, but it almost felt like when a PB video would, like, hit the algorithm, it would hit the algorithm because it was niche and it was less saturated. Like, Chris's 132, and I think the 131 as well, like, hit the algorithm. And the fact that, like, somebody, like, was willing to grind, for world record alongside Redmoss, like, in 2016, to essentially revive the game. Like, obviously, like, you know, the battle just coming back to the scene, like, was a huge contribution. But of course, if nobody played the game, then it wouldn't have... like, especially at that level, like, because that trickles down to everybody else wanting to play as well, and just seeing what people could do in, you know, for 2016 standards, what people could do with modern ideas and knowledge. And, yeah, like, Chris, he won the war of attrition versus Redmoss. Like, they were trading back and forth, but Chris remained victorious, and he kept his streak going for a while. And he also had world record in... What was the extended cheat percent? That's the one. Like, he pushed the game beyond what we knew was possible at the time. I remember his 132. Like, his 132 was seen as pretty good, and then BBBH Backwards got discovered, and then Chris came back, and he went... And obviously it was like, okay, well, he can get 131, dude. He got 131.10 with, like, a couple major mistakes. It was crazy. It was just like, oh my god, 130 is possible now. But yeah, Chris is the longest-lasting active runner. And, like, what do we... Well, not just active runner... like, with activity in general in the movie community. Because he's been around since, I think, like, 2013 or 2014, so he predates even, like, me, and I'm one of the oldest. I'm one of the... I'm not, you know, again, Chris is, but... I'm, like, one of the longest-lasting community members who's been active pretty much the whole time. Like, probably, like, top 5 or something, I'm not entirely sure. But, or like top 10, was that, yeah, probably like top 10. But, yeah, Chris is, I think, as far as I'm aware, Chris is, like, the #1 guy, because, you know, Watsup, like, he's obviously, like, he's around, he's alive, but, like, obviously he's not active at all. Kyoku is not active at all. Cole is, at least, like, in the SpongeBob community, he's not active at all, so therefore I'd say the title goes to Chris. Even though there have been times where he's been more offline, but some of those times weren't his fault, and, you know... But I think since, like, 2016, he's been pretty active online, all things considered. But yeah, like, the big 3 runners back in the day, in 2018, were me, Chris, and Tedious. Well, like, Chris was seen as, like, the best player, so I guess, like, Chris, Tedious, me was probably, like, the order. But we were all world record capable, and he fought for what, like, he lost, but, like, he fought for world record against, you know, like, he was part of, like, the big 3, and he was, like, the most favored. So, and to this day, even to this day, all these years later, you know, Chris, he hadn't played the game in years, he was, like, some people might have even considered him washed up, his run was ancient, it was, like, a 109 or some shit. Or, actually, I think it was, like, a 110. But yeah, he came back, and he's been mostly active, and... Dude, he's been going to lengths I haven't seen other runners go to, like, other than myself, where he spent hours and hours and hours and hours on one of his streams recently just analyzing the fuck out of my run. Just analyzing the fuck out of it. And just basically anything that was different, he was noting it down. It was crazy. I haven't seen somebody, like, make that kind of attempt before, like, to that extent in this community. And I will say, and this is not to, you know, this is not to discredit Chris, and I think he would agree with me, he is kind of inconsistent. But don't get it twisted, he is absolutely capable of 102. He is capable of taking this number 2 spot. His run lost, like, over 50 seconds in Neptune alone, and this is before he, like, analyzed my run and made some changes to his route and everything. Like, in this run, his sum of best is 101.38. I think I clicked on his stream, like, yesterday, and it's, like, 101.08, and that's obviously, like, it's not... It's gonna get to a 1 flat. I think Sam's sum of best, like, very recently hit 1 flat, but yeah, like, Chris and Sam are very much capable of the same kind of times, and like, the fact that, like, Sam is currently taking a break and Chris has gone to these, like, lengths the Sam hasn't, even though Sam is more consistent, I think if Chris keeps up this consistency, this momentum, I think he could get second. I mean, obviously he's 102 capable, but yeah, that's the impact that he's had, that he's such a long-lasting runner who had a world record streak for quite a while, and now is, like, the undisputed, like, if there is a big 3 now, like, it's me, Sam, and Chris. Like, there's no questioning, like, there's no 4th. Well, obviously there would be a 4th, but I mean, like, there's no other contenders, it's me, Sam, and Chris. So, you know, like, the new big 3 in town. But Chris could be second at some point, like, definitely, absolutely capable of it. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Alright, who do I have next up? It's Foggy. So, Foggy's runs, I mean, Foggy has a faster run than this, but rub it up skip, it's not actually a better run, so... I think Foggy, like, I'm trying to remember what I think my time was a 107 at the time? So, Foggy got, like, fairly close to a world record, but Foggy's contributions are so significant to how we play the game. First of all, they found Mindy Skip. And yes, obviously it was a complete accident, and theoretically we could have found it eventually, because, like, what most likely would have happened by now is that we would have discovered ball storage in itself, and then we would have been like, okay, well... what's it called? Like, we found ball storage, and in some levels it does crazy stuff, and then we would have eventually found, oh, it's only, like, we found stuff in sliding and driving levels, let's try Knucklehead, and then somebody thinks, like, obviously, it would have taken a bit, like, by now it probably still wouldn't have been found, is the point. It would have been found eventually, but I think Foggy literally saved us, like, 10 fucking years of not having Mindy Skip, like... And that is, like, the existence of no pole storage and then early powers and a better all extras is so big. Like, it makes people want to run this game a lot more than they used to, right? Because No Major Glitches does have 5 ring challenges after all, and it's a longer run, and you basically have to do BBBH backwards, so then you have to do slide jumps, and all this other stuff, and the run is longer, which means more fatigue, like, less time to fit in more runs. And even then, people also just didn't like playing SpongeBob and SCDA guitar and stuff like that. Like, now, there are 9 less tokens, and, like, the pacing is significantly faster. It is a more beginner-friendly category, especially because the substitute tokens that you can do are, like, they don't lose as much time, you don't need to do BBBH slide jumps. Yeah, just, like, in most people's opinions, like, no pole storage is the best category in the game, and I would agree. Like, just the image, just the impression that it gives off to, you know, people who haven't even ran the game before, like, it is making its very positive impact. And the other thing that they found is buffers, and that improved consistency, so this game was naturally inherently inconsistent, and that is no longer the case. I've talked about, you know, buffers and, like the hypothetical hard drive thing, like, so many times. But it is just, like, this domino effect of, like, nobody wants to do effectively the same trick, like, a dozen times, so it's inherently toxic. The second frame of a 2-frame token, like, not having a visual or audio indication is inherently toxic and inconsistent. The being able to do them easily, like, then allows you to implement stuff that you otherwise wouldn't have implemented, which is creating more variety. Having a more variety of strats pushes people to look for strats for, you know, time saves sooner, including, which increases, like, the speed of which the things get found. You're not as stuck in no cheese and depression hell as you would be. Like, nobody at the top level would play the game, which then trickles down to, like, nobody playing, and yeah. So those are huge things. But it isn't even just those things, like, they're also they were, like, pretty much the undisputed second best player, like, and it was crazy because they didn't even play the game that much. They would practice every day, apparently, but they would only do runs on, like, Friday and Saturday, if I recall correctly. Or it might have been Saturday and Sunday. So they would practice all week and then just do runs for, like, a few hours, and there were runs where they would literally beat this sum of best in the run, which is insane. Again, they would, like, they played, like, at least their run time, like, the practice to run ratio was unlike what we've seen before, or really since, because I practice for, like, an hour, but then I'll do runs for, like, 5 to 6 hours. It was just incredible, like, how fast Foggy was at improving, just how fast they were in general. They weren't ever, like, a world record contender, but, like, again, relative to how much they played, like, if they kept going, it probably would have happened eventually, like, at the very least getting to the world record potential. They did have the world record in no pause storage, like, once or twice, but, like, when the trick was literally, like, brand new. But yeah. I think Chris did as well, by the way, like, when it was brand, I'm pretty sure Chris, like, very temporarily had the world record, But yeah, basically, upgrading Cartwheel and Spongeball, that's very strange. Yeah, like, I mean, what can I even say? Like, they were crazy good. They did stop, and from what I can tell, it might have just been burnout or just generally just being disinterested in the game, but, like, what it seemed like to me, like, they got to a point where they couldn't PB for a couple, like 2 or 3 weeks, and I think that burnt them out because they were so used to PBing, like, every week. I mean, I could be wrong, though. So the issue with, like, they improved so quickly that I feel like they didn't have, like, the mental to be able to put up with not being able to PB quickly. That's what it seemed like to me. That is a good thing about me being, like, a slow-paced, like, a slow learner. And having to take a more, like, gradual approach. Like, I'm just so used to getting beaten down by the game and having things, like, take so long that I can handle it when the game fucks me, basically. But yeah, Foggy's accomplishments in this short amount of time running the game were very, very significant. Alright, next up is Oofsta. Oofsta was the next undisputed second best player after Foggy. Like, obviously, like, didn't hit, like... I mean, well, that's the thing, like, he hit, like, higher highs than Foggy in the sense that, like, Oofsta got closer to world record level and actually had world record in some categories. Like, straight up. But, like... Yeah, obviously, like, he didn't find anything like Mindy Skip or whatever, but, like, his impact was because he really was, like, the #2 player for quite an extended period of time. And again, straight up had world record in Frogfish and early powers. Like, just straight up. I think I'll just click on a random part of the run. The reason why I'm using the 105.54 is because, again, pre-Rubber Skip. So basically... Yeah, like, I have not seen somebody, like, again, other than me, as dedicated to the game, like, grinding it as consistently as he, because people tend to take, like, very big breaks in this game and then come back. and even then, do, like, 2-hour-long streams or whatever. Like, Oofster seem to do longer sessions and take less breaks, more akin to my playstyle. Although when I take a break, it tends to be fucking big. But to be fair, a lot of my breaks were, like, unintentional or because I pretty much had to. But yeah, like, the second best player for, like, a very long time, straight up could have gotten world record at no pause storage. It was, like, definitely more of an uphill battle, but, like, even in this run, if I recall correctly, he was a few seconds ahead of the world record. Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but he's probably, like, 5 seconds ahead of the, at the time, world record, the 105.34, because my early game was the worst part of my run, but still. And there was one run before where I think it was, like, barely on world record pace going into Guest 2. So, like, he was world record capable in no pause storage. This is when I was taking my 8-month break. But it was impressive, because since my break, like, during that time, like, almost nothing got found. Like, he started doing Sunday jump and runs, but that was already known. And then he was taking, like, better turns in, like, rubber dub. And the other thing that's notable as well is that, a lot of my golds was still faster. However, he, I think, like, nearly all of his sliding and driving world golds were faster. I think pretty much all of them were faster. And I think he had a faster frogfish gold as well. But yeah, again, he had, like, he was putting more time into early powers and frogfish than me, but at the end of the day, he still had world record in those categories. Like, I think people, like, they might think, like, oh, well, like, the impact isn't like as obvious compared to like the other people I mentioned, but like, but he's more of a, like, he's undeniably one of the best players to have touched the sticks. It's just that it's in a less obvious way because, you know, Foggy found Mindy skip, like Chris was a very long time runner, like Cole was the pioneer, you know, that kind of thing. Even Sam, like, when we get to Sam, like, he got the game of the GDQ, but I'm hoping, yeah, I'm hoping this is not worded in a way where it sounds like I'm just being like, oh yeah, his accomplishments don't mean anything, like, I'm not saying that whatsoever. It's just that, like, you know, he was, like, really good, but like me, you know, I don't think he was, like, a crazy strat hunter or anything. So his impact is, like, less obvious unless you, like, look at his runs. But yeah. Then, oh yeah, like, Oofster was the last time, by the way, that there was, like, actually any kind of, like, world record competition in no pause storage, because, like, there was competition at the beginning, and then I set my first time in no pause storage, which was 1:12:10. In that time, somebody still could have beaten me, but then I think I pretty quickly got down to, like, 1:10:27, I want to say, and then that's when it became, like, that's when I got to the point where nobody could, like, really get the world record anymore. But then Oofster, like, Oofster getting that 105.59, or 54, I think, I don't know. I already closed the thing, I think it was 54, and then, continuing to push afterwards. I think his sum of best was, like, quite close to mine as well. Like, that was the, even though it wasn't, like, crazy world record competition or anything, like, he was the last person capable of it. And it hasn't happened pretty much before or since. Now we move on to Sam, and his is also, like, less obvious in the sense that he hasn't discovered that much stuff. However, Sam is currently the second best player, like Oofster. However, Sam tends to take, like, more breaks, but he always comes back eventually. That's, like, you know. And, he's quite good. Like, I'm not trying to say that he, like, barely touches the game or anything, because that is not true, but, like, he is, like, for how... I don't know, because his streams are usually only, like, 2 to 3 hours long, but he still, like, gets quite good times. You know, when he got this 102, and even this run, he said that it's, like, not very good. Which shows that he's capable of more. Like, I don't know, like, it's hard to, like, say unique strings of words, sentences that I didn't basically say for Usta, but, like, yeah. He's been the second best player for a while. He is, the second, like, well, other than Chris, like, right now, like, Sam is one of the more, because when he plays for, like, a while. Well, I said frequent breaks, but I mean, like, the breaks are short, which is why it comes off as that. Like, he has second place in, like, every fucking category, practically. Second in no pause storage, second in no major glitches, hasn't touched any percent, to be fair. Actually, has he? Okay, yeah, but even then, he got second. Second in hundo, second in all tokens, second in all extras, and then if we go to extensions, not second in frogfish, to be fair. He doesn't really touch the extensions categories. Oh my god, he's being a dickhead. Bro, really? Really? Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, he's, at least on main, he's just, like, second place constantly across the board. Like, even though Chris's, like, second place potential and no pause storage, as well as his willingness to, like, analyze shit is very much felt, there is its own independent skill of grinding, like, a lot of categories and being good at all of them. For example, hundo is so fucking long that it drains you, and it's the hardest category as well. And yet, despite that, like, Sam has he has second place in that, and no pause storage, and all extras, and, you know, like, being good at all those is its own independent skill. So I'd say Sam is, like, the overall second best player. Even though Sam has never had a world record, like, I wouldn't say that he will literally never be capable of it ever, because that's obviously not true. Like, as long as he just keeps playing and playing and playing, it's just, you know. But even just as, like, second place, he's pretty comfortably holding onto the title right now, and even if he loses it in no pause storage, he still comfortably has it everywhere else. Like, and he got the game into GDQ. That is a significant thing. No one has ever gotten this game into GDQ. Cole was submitting it, Chris was submitting it, TDS submitted it. I've never submitted it, but yeah. Like, but the one to finally get it in was Sam, and his showcasing at GDQ was good. If I recall correctly, like, there were a lot of people watching the stream. It had a pretty, like, decent time on the schedule, but, like, even, like, the VOD, like, the GDQ uploaded, I think it has, like, more views than the average run. And he gave a good, like, the only thing, Sam fucked up fast corkscrew pretty bad, and I think he got, like, third try float and block skip or something, but, like, other than that, he gave a genuinely pretty fucking good showing of the game, and he's just been pretty, again, quite dedicated, and also, he's been, like, a long-time creature world record holder at multiple points as well, and he has, like, a 49 in battle, so it just, you know. Oh, and, toss as well. He's been the world record holder in toss for a long-ass time. So yeah, that's basically everything, like, the impact, again, of just being the second place guy, and, the GDQ run as well. Alright, next is, Tedious. It was pretty easy to, like, count him out when it's like, oh, he doesn't have second in anything anymore, he's 9th in no pause storage. But first of all, that's on 360, which is pretty big. I just spoiled one of the fucking runs. It was Kyoku. Anyway, yeah, so as for Tedious, right, like, he was, again, one of the big three, and of us three, he was considered, like, the most consistent. He was playing less than me and Chris, but he was still getting these good-ass times, fully capable of competing with me and Chris. If anything, a lot of people considered him, you know, better than me, when we all had 131s trying to get world record, and then 130, and then, the inevitable 129. That spin strat makes me ill. Anyway, so Tedious has found some strats, and he has a creative mind. It's just that a lot of what he finds tends to not really be that useful or slow. Like, it's slow. But, like, he has found, like, a number of things, especially in, like, hundo back in the day. And speaking of, he was, like, the dominant world record holder in 100% in all tokens for quite a while. He was the only one willing to touch them to the extent that he did. Which, like, that's not to say that he was grinding them for months or whatever, but, like, he would, you know, grind them for, like, a week or two in a row, which, like, nobody else was willing to do, on top of just grinding no major glitches in itself, like... And, he had second place in no major glitches at one point, and was, like, world record capable during my absence after the 129. Like, he was, like, if he got, like, a god tier run, he could have gotten it. And even though he didn't get the game into GDQ, he did submit it a couple times, which is, I feel like, is notable. Some of his runs did very well on YouTube. Like, I think particularly the Hundo runs, like, performed well on YouTube. So that's, like, the impact. But yeah, he was absolutely world record capable. If anything, I'm a little surprised he didn't get it, but it was probably because of his lack of playtime compared to me and Chris. And even to this day, like, he's playing on 360, which gives him a huge disadvantage, and even when he rarely comes back, and when he does, he doesn't play for very long, so his consistency is pretty good. Like, could you imagine, like, he actually grinded for months, or at least, like, several weeks, like he did in 2018, and was playing on OG and everything? Like, possible top 3 contender. But it's more about, like, his impact in the past, because he, just like me, was playing the game back in the day when no one else was, just willing to keep grinding it, and, yeah. I just felt like he was quite notable. And he also very temporarily had the no pause storage world record. And I literally mean, like, he got it, and then I was in the middle of a run that then went on to get world record. But he did get it. A pretty, like, decent run, too. So, yeah. And I obviously, like, I have to mention myself, like, but I also don't want to say every 5 seconds that I don't want to suck myself off, so I'm just going to say this one time that I don't want to suck myself off, but obviously I have to mention myself. If anybody else were making this video, I would be mentioned, so... So what I have written down is world record holder since 2018, and that goes across, like, several categories, like, at least, like, from 2018 onwards. Like, obviously, I broke out of the pack with a 130-25 and no major glitches, which we didn't know it at the time, but, like, at that point, I had pretty much established myself as the best player because, I was playing on PAL 360, and we didn't know how slow that was back in the day. Like, that run would have been 129, so, like, but then when I got the 129, there was just no questioning it anymore, like, I was the #1 player, and, a lot of my runs have, like, gotten, you know, multiple tens of thousands of views on YouTube. I feel like I've been able to give a good showcase of the game in that sense. I've pushed the game, like, way past what we thought was possible, like, time and time and time again, playing at a level of consistency that we haven't, like, really seen before. Like, this dedication that we haven't seen before. I found, like, even though I am a bad strat hunter, like, because I've played so much, I have found some strats, and I found a lot of routing stuff. I have world record in every category except for both any percents and, no level resets. Yeah, so I've been a very, like, dominant world record holder, like, particularly since, coming back to the game in, like, 2020. Like, I think, like, after Mindy Skip got found, and then, like, all extras started being ran again, and early powers became a thing, like, that was truly when it became, like, a properly, like, across the board, like, a dominant runner, like, in every category. Obviously, again, I haven't touched a couple, and Usta has beaten my world record in Frogfish and, early powers sometimes, and at some point, one of my all-world tokens world records got beaten, but it was by a run that was... It broke the rules, but I think even outside of that, I still would have gone Reki. To be fair, my run was... my AWT run was really bad. But yeah, like, for the most part, I've been, like, very dominant in these categories. You know, I'm the only no-pause storage runner who has been able to play within a minute of an optimized sum of best, like, not just once, but twice. What am I trying to say? I won against the big three. I already said that, but yeah, like, I broke out of the big three in 2018. And now I'm not in a position in, like, any category where it's possible I could lose my world record, really. I think the one where I'm most likely to lose it is probably Frogfish, not because the run isn't good. Like, the run is really good, but it's not, like, perfect, and I feel like if Latte got a slightly better run and then just happened to get, like, a really good weenie out of bounds, like, he could probably snipe the world record, like, barely. But I don't think that's actually, like, going to happen. Also, like, Frogfish world record, like, temporarily got taken away from me as well. Actually, I think maybe Usta had it at the time, I'm not sure. Actually, yeah, Usta probably had it at the time, but when Rub-a-Dub Skip got found, like Vaz sniped it really quickly. But, yeah. Like, and obviously, like, my consistency with streaming the game, like, brings a lot of people in. You know, it's possible that some of these runners now never would have found the game if I wasn't streaming it and released tutorials for it and had good showcases of the runs on YouTube. I will say just one final time that I don't want to suck myself off, but obviously, like, the impact I've had on the game, like, is very significant. And I think the boards and everything, like, just, like, the times on the boards and the resources available and everything would just look quite different if I stopped playing after 2018, or if I just didn't touch the game at all. Oh, I will say, by the way, that, another thing about Cole's run is that he played, like, 40 seconds off his sub. However, his splits were, like, very new. But even if they weren't, I can tell he still would have played probably, like, a minute within sub. But obviously, now the run is, like, way harder than it used to be. But then again, the standards for the time, like, that was still seen as, like beyond, like, insane. But I still wanted to point that out. I have a couple honorable mentions now. I have 3 honorable mentions. I could have done more, but with some of them, it's like, for example, Sky's found a lot of strats, but they haven't, and they have any % world records, but, you know, like, they hardly play the game. Chatter's world record in GameCube any % and no level resets, but I've never played those categories, so I can't say like how good those runs are. And he had a couple, I think he had like a tied Xbox IL world record at some point, and had in sandwich driving, and had the Sunday world record as well. Actually, he might have had the GameCube one as well. I really, like, for sandwich driving, I can't remember. But I've decided on 3 people for the honorable mention. The first one, well, it's more of a tie, kind of, but I'm leaning more towards Latte. But it's Latte and Vaz. Latte has not been world record capable in any of these, like, categories, but the thing is that he's found a lot of stuff. Like, he really has found a bunch of stuff. Additionally, his Frogfish time is genuinely really fucking good. His times are shockingly good relative to how little he plays. Like, the 108 may not seem crazy, but, like, he's one, like, in the top, well, 11, in the top 11, he's probably, like, the one, except for maybe, like, Usta, he's probably the one with, like, the most potential to just completely destroy the time that he has. He probably has, like, the most hidden potential out of the top 11, other than Usta. Like, and the other thing as well is that he does have, like, pretty decent times in a number of categories. Like, pretty, like, you know, like, not, like, terrible times or anything, you know, like, pretty decent times. The most notable thing, though, is just his dominant streak of, like, not driving, sliding world records. I don't think Latte would disagree with me that, the driving is harder to master than the sliding, because number 1, it tends to somehow have even worse strats. Number 2, there are 4 driving levels compared to 3 sliding levels. And number 3, like, even though Rub-a-Dub Skip and guest jumps, like, the way that you have to do them are really hard, once you're done with those, then it is just, like, take the line and you win. Whereas, like, driving, like, obviously, like, the sandwich fucking sucks, so, like, the tuning is fucked, the frame rate feels terrible. Nitro management, like, it's just harder to master that stuff, but even so, very, like, dominant in the sliding world records, has had some driving world records, and has all of the world records in the Ring Challenge ILs, even though nobody actually goes for those, but still, it's notable. So yeah, his impact on the game is felt through his strat discoveries and his world records in these ILs. But Vaz, his ILs are, like, even more impressive, I would say, in my opinion. And he's pushed his times even further. It's just that he's played less categories, and he's found a lesser number of stuff. And some of the stuff that he's found is, like, IL exclusive. But make no mistake, like, Vaz is shockingly good at the game. For again, like, relative to his playtime. And finally, I wanted to mention Watsup as well, but his 151, the VOD isn't there anymore, so I don't know if the 100-hour limit thing hit him, because I don't think he had enough hours for 100, but, like, it didn't say the VOD was deleted, it just said it wasn't available. I think we have a backup of the VOD, so I'm probably gonna have to do something about that, but anyway. Yeah, obviously Watsup, like, he traded with Cole a little bit for world record. Cole and Watsup didn't know that the other person existed for a brief period of time, so they both thought they were, like, the original movie runners. You know, Watsup found Puzzle Skip. I don't know if he found anything else, but yeah, like... And he traded with Cole a little bit, and there was, like, a standard back in the day. Obviously, the standard in 2016, like, it was, like, sub 2, but, like, another standard for when your run was, like, really good was to beat, the 150-150. If you beat the 150-150, you were considered, like, really good. I hear an ambulance. Anyway, yeah, like, Watsup didn't actually play the game that much, like, in the grand scheme of things, but that is still notable that he traded with Cole and was one of the pioneers. And finally, we have, oh wait, this is Red Moss. Okay, I think I just forgot to... Oh, I did write it down, I just didn't scroll down. Alright, Red Moss. He traded with Chris, like, a few times, and he was the first person to beat Cole. He was the first person to finally beat Cole. Even though Chris then took the world record, like, very soon after, like, again, he traded with Chris. And the crazy thing is about Red Moss's run is that, he was still doing the very slow rub-a-dub route, because he probably didn't think it was faster. I think he was doing that anyway. I'm trying to find proof of what I'm... Dude, did it, like... Oh, wait, no, I think he did know at this point. Okay, fair. But, like, when he originally got world record, he was still doing the old route. You know, like, his... I don't think he found any strats, and, the world record war between him and Chris was a little short-lived. But his impact was felt in cheap ascent. The old cheap ascent world record was done by Cole, so obviously we could beat her on Xbox. We were all so fucking bad at the game that nobody could beat Neptune without getting hit. I tried for days, I couldn't do it, and other people tried for a while as well. None of us could do it. It was just so hard to not get hit in Neptune. And well, it wasn't even about, like, the rest of the level going well. Like, you literally just don't get hit, kick W, and then you were Gucci. But the reason why it was so hard to beat his time, he was on 360, so his loads were fast. But also, his cheat codes were fucking nuts. He was really good at cheat codes. So nobody beat his time until, like, 2020. In fucking cheap ascent. So he had the world record for, like, 4 years or some shit. Even now, my cheat codes are not that good, but I doubt even with Red Moss cheats I could get down to, like, the next second in cheap ascent. But maybe, I don't fucking know. I mean, if it's possible, I'm not getting good at cheat codes, bro. Fuck that. But... yeah, like, his impact, like, in 2016, his impact was very much felt, so I felt like it was an honorable mention. Like, I definitely think that gave Chris the motivation as well to keep pushing his times. And finally, we have Kyoku. And I think, like, okay, he's had some sliding and driving world record ILs in, like, 2019, 2020, 2021. The other thing is that he did get world record once, but the crazy thing is that he was still doing, like, some ancient-ass routes and some ancient-ass strats even for the time. He was doing some weird stuff, and he still got world record. Dude, his movement is, again, that's just, the standards for the time. Does not need these manlies, let me tell you. Was this before slide skip? No, there's no way. He must have just not done slide skips. See, this is what I mean. He was doing, like, absolutely ancient stuff. So, for the time, this run was probably, like, super good, like, compared to what he was doing. Yeah, again, like, he's had some sliding and driving ILs world records, and he got world record once in spite of, like, his strats and route. So I also felt that that was notable. I've also talked to him a couple times, like, since making the Heavy Irons Best Times video. So yeah, this is a bit of a... because all I'm really saying is, like, oh yeah, these players got good times or whatever, but, like... I just thought it'd be, you know, more of a positive video where I'm just, like, showing people's achievements and stuff. And what they've accomplished. Maybe years down the line, somebody can make a part 2 to this. But yeah, that's basically the video. It's actually shorter than I thought it was gonna be. There's potentially other people that you could mention, but... I don't know. You also, like, then if you stop mentioning some people, then it's like, oh, we might as well mention these people as well, and then all of a sudden you're mentioning everyone. Everybody matters. Even though this video is about the best runners, like, everyone matters, everybody pushes the game, everybody contributes in some capacity. And I wish there was somebody I could give credit to for being an incredible strat hunter, but they, community banned. Anyway, thank you for watching, and goodbye.